Hey friends, welcome to Tech Harvesting. In this series, I'm going to show you how you can learn the Rust programming language. So this is the first episode, and in this video, it's going to be really simple. We're going to learn about what Rust is, where you can use it, and also we'll learn how to install Rust, and we'll create a simple Hello World application. So first, let's get into what Rust is. So before we have a look at the Rust programming language and learn about its syntax and all, we'll have a look at what it does and what we can use it for. So the Rust programming language is really popular for its speed. So it's a really fast language and it does everything in seconds. So when you compare it to something like JavaScript, it does everything much faster. And Rust can be used in a lot of places. So we can use it in embedded systems like IoT devices, or you can even use it in other places too. If you can create a desktop application, you can use Rust there too. You can use it with WebAssembly. It's really getting popular these days. So WebAssembly is a tool used in the web, so that you can use Rust, C++, all these languages in the web. So there's also something where you can use Rust, and Rust is really popular in all these cases. And right now, again, it's getting more popular. So Rust can be used all these places. It's really fast, it's really great, and it's also beginner friendly. It does have a bit high learning curve, but I'll make it easy for you to learn throughout this course. So Rust is also used to build very popular applications like Mozilla Firefox. It's a very popular browser, and it's also used for building Dropbox. It's a cloud storage solution. You might have already used it a lot, and even Cloudflare uses Rust. So again, Rust is not as popular as some other programming languages like Python or JavaScript, but it's getting popular, and even the jobs for Rust are increasing nowadays. So now let's go ahead and have a look at how we can install Rust on our computer, and also we'll go ahead and create a simple Hello World application to get started with Rust. So open up the Rust website right here. You can go on to rust-lang.org, or you can just search for Rust programming language and you'll get taken to this website. So in this website, we have some information about Rust. So as I told, Rust is really fast, and also some information about what we can do with Rust. So you can see we had discussed about some of these things here, like WebAssembly and all. So let's go ahead and install Rust right now. So for that, you'll need to go ahead and click on the install button in this menu bar at the top. That should take you to this website where it shows how you can install Rust. Right now I'm on Mac OS. This works on Linux too, and if you're on Windows, you can go in here, the other installation methods place, and you can just scroll down and you can install this rustup-init.exe, this executable file, and from there you'll be able to continue. So right now I'm going to copy this command. Again, this will work on Linux also. I'm going to open up my terminal. I'm going to paste it right in here. Now we can hit enter and it's going to run the command. As you can see, it shows us three options. We can proceed with the installation, can customize the installation, or can cancel the installation. So we are going to go with the default option, which is to proceed with the default installation. So you can hit 1 and hit enter. Now it'll start to install the Rust language. It'll install the compiler and it'll install cargo and some tools like that. So I'll be back once all those things are done. So now as you can see, it's installed, and you can see it's when Rust is installed. Great. So now we'll need to reopen our shell. You can just reload this terminal, or you can just open a new tab, which is what I'm going to do. And in here you'll be able to run the commands. So the three commands that Rust gives us. First I'll show the first one, which is rust up. This is what's used to update Rust and install new versions of Rust. Then you have rust C. This is the Rust compiler, so the C here stands for compiler. So that's also there. And then we have cargo. Now cargo is a package manager for Rust. If you have used JavaScript before, it's like npm, and you'll be able to install packages and do things like that with cargo. It's also really useful. If you hit enter, as you can see, cargo is also run. So you can see the version of the Rust compiler by doing rust c -- version, and as you can see, I'm running 1.61.0. There are also other versions like the nightly builds and beta versions, all like that. Right now we're having that version. Here also you can see what you can do with the path. So if you wanna, we can add this to our environment. So if we're not able to run the command, you can just add this to your environment variables. Here it also shows how you can uninstall Rust by running this command. So now once we are done with the installation of Rust, we can open up your IDE In this case, I'm going to be using VS Code, and in that you'll be able to install the Rust extension. And you can also use other IDEs like some JetBrains IDE like Golang or anything with the Rust extension in it, but right now I'm going to be using VS Code. So you'll need to go into the extensions and search for Rust, and you can install this Rust Analyzer extension. Before we used to use this Rust extension, but now it's gonna get deprecated soon, and we'll be able to use this Rust Analyzer extension. They're both by the Rust programming language team. So you can click on install, and as you can see, it's installed right now. So now I'm gonna go ahead and open a new folder, and let's create a file in it and test out how our Rust installation is working. So I've created this folder called intro inside a folder called Rust, which is where I'll be doing all my tutorials. So inside this intro folder, which is this episode, for this episode I'll be doing this intro folder only. We'll create a new file in here and we'll name it main.rs. So rs is the extension for Rust, and that's what you'll be using most of the time. So first I want to just show you how you can create a simple application in here, just a hello world application. You don't have to understand what I'm typing. I'm just going to show you how it's done. So you can do fn main, and in here you can do print line hello world. So this is what's used, this function is what's used for printing stuff in Rust. You have a println and an exclamation. This is called a macro. We'll discuss about that more later, but this is how it's done in Rust. So now we'll have to go ahead and run this. So for running it, first you'll need to compile the code. So Rust is a compiled language which is not like JavaScript or anything. So JavaScript uses a just-in-time compilation, so when it runs it'll compile into bytecode. But in here, for Rust and other languages also like C, C++ and all, you'll need to compile them onto machine code. It'll generate an executable file, and that's what you'll be running. So for that, I'm opening up my terminal, and in here you'll need to go ahead and create a executable. So for that you have to use the Rust C, the Rust compiler, and you'll need to give the file name which it needs to compile. So in here, as you know, it's main.rs, and you can go here and type in main.rs. You can hit enter, and as you can see, you have a file now, and this is called the main file. So if you click on this, it's in binary. If you click on open anyway and open it up, you won't understand anything. It's just something else. So it's just ones and zeros. So that's why we can't understand anything, but the computer will be able to understand this easily. So within a terminal, very easily, all we need to do is to type in /main. And if you hit enter, you can see we got getting hello world. So this is all we did. We just compiled it first from this file, the Rust file. It became machine code, and then we just did /main. If you're on Windows, you might have to do /main, or maybe it's main.exe. Just try it out. It should work probably like that. So that's how it's done. It's very simple to do. All you need to do is just to compile the code, and then you'll need to run it. Now in a real project, this is not what you'll be doing. We'll probably be having a cargo environment. So as I told, cargo is a package manager, and with that we'll be able to do more things. So what I'm going to do now is we're gonna delete all these two files, and now it's empty again. And now what we'll be doing is to go ahead and initialize this project to be a cargo project. So for that, I'm just gonna clear out my terminal, and we're gonna run the command cargo init. So if you don't remember, we installed cargo when we installed Rust, the compiler, everything. So if we hit enter now, you can see it shows create binary application, and in here you can see it has initialized a git repository too. It's created a git ignore. It's created a source main.rs with the same code that we just wrote, and it also has this cargo.toml file. So if you have used something like JavaScript, you have the package.json. It's the same thing in here, just that it's called cargo.toml, and toml is a file format used for cargo, like JSON. So if you're not getting all this syntax highlighting, you can just go here and install an extension called buttertoml, this one, and that's what gave me all the syntax highlighting for the toml file right here. So as you can see, this is an array of dependencies. We don't have any dependencies here. We can install dependencies from a website called crates.io, like npm, like the npm website. And yeah, so that's it. We have initialized this using cargo now, and if you want to run the project, you can just do cargo run. And as you can see, it's create this target folder and everything's inside. It's done some files in here, but what we can do right here is we can see that it's run already here. So what it does is it first builds the project and automatically runs it for us, so we don't have to go ahead and just do compile it first and then run it again. So cargo comes with a lot of benefits like that, and this is one of them. So that was it for this video. I just wanted to show you how you can install Rust on a computer, and we ran a Hello World application. We used it with Cargo, and we did some basic things with Rust. So that's it for this video, but we'll do more topics in the upcoming videos in this series. So we'll have a look at variables, functions, structs, and more. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye friends.